I will be discussing today about Article 122 of the Revised Penal Code, Piracy in general and mutiny on the high seas or in Philippine waters. Article 122 states that the penalty of reclusion temporal shall be inflicted upon any person who, on the high seas or in Philippine waters, shall attack or seize a vessel, or, not being a member of its complement nor a passenger, shall seize the whole or part of the cargo of the said vessel, its equipment or personal belongings of its complement or passengers. The same penalty shall be inflicted in case of mutiny on the high seas or in Philippine waters. So what are the ways of committing a piracy? First is by attacking or seizing a vessel on the high seas or in Philippine waters. Second is by seizing a vessel while on the high seas or in Philippine waters, the whole or part of the cargo of the said vessel, its equipment or personal belongings of its complement or passengers. The elements of piracy are: first, a vessel is on high seas or in Philippine waters. Second, the offenders are not members of its complement or passengers of the vessel. And third is the offenders attack or seize that vessel or seize the whole or part of the cargo of the said vessel, its equipment, personal belongings of its complement or passengers. Now let's define each word. First is the high seas. High seas refers to any waters on the sea coast which are without boundaries of low water mark, although such waters may be in jurisdictional limits of a foreign government, parts of the seas that are not included in the exclusive economic zone, in territorial seas, or in the internal waters of a state, or in the archipelagic waters of an archipelagic state. Second is the Philippine waters. It refers to all the bodies of water, such as but not limited to seas, gulf, bays around, between, and connecting each of the islands of the Philippine archipelago, irrespective of its depth, breadth, length, or dimension, and all other waters belonging to the Philippine by historic or legal title, including territorial sea, the seabed, the insular shelves, and other submarine areas over the Philippines has sovereignty over or jurisdiction. Third is vessel. It refers to any vessel or watercraft used for transport of passengers and cargo from one place to another through Philippine waters. It shall include all kinds and types of vessels or boats used in fishing. Fourth is piracy. Piracy means robbery or forcible depredation on high seas without lawful authority and done with animo furandi. Animo furandi refers to intention to steal, and also in the spirit and intention of universal hostility. Last is mutiny. It refers to the unlawful resistance to a superior officer or the raising of commotions and disturbances on board a ship against the authority of its commander. Let's distinguish the difference between piracy and mutiny. Piracy refers to a person who attack a vessel or seize its cargo are strangers to the said vessel, and also they have the intent to gain. While mutiny is committed by members of the crew or passengers, and also the offenders may only intend to ignore the ship's officer, or they may be prompted by a desire to commit plunder. Piracy and mutiny as terrorism, based on the Republic Act No. 9372 or the Human Security Act of 2007. When a person who commits an act punishable as piracy and mutiny under Article 122, thereby sowing and creating condition of widespread and extraordinary fear and panic among the populace, in order to coerce the government to give an unlawful demand, shall be guilty of the crime of terrorism and shall suffer the penalty of 40 years of imprisonment without the benefit of parole. Let's discuss the case of People versus Yo. The facts of the case are as follows. Hulay di siyo, umarkayam kiram, namli indanan anandawang malin, were accused of qualified piracy with 3 counts of murder and 1 count of frustrated murder. On the day of the incident, Kiram, who was the boat operator, stopped upon hearing the 2 gunshots. Another boat containing Indanan and Hamali closed into the boat containing the merchants. De Guzman and his companions were robbed of their personal belongings and profits amounting to a total of 18,342. In fact, one of the culprits took fancy of De Guzman pants that the latter had to surrender it. The victims were later told to jump into the water where the accused fired at them, and only Antonio survived on that incident. The 2 apprehended culprits argued that they had no intention of robbing the merchants. If they did, they should have done it while they were providing them with food and lodging. And likewise, they denied assisting the other 2 in robbing the merchants on their pub road. The issue in this case is whether or not the 2 are guilty of piracy. The court held yes because the felony was committed over the water. The claim that they did not know the other 2 culprits was rejected because De Guzman had seen them talking with one another prior to the ambush. The claim of the accused that they could have just robbed the merchants inside their home was untenable, since it would cause too much commotion, and likewise, doing it during transport from one island to another lessens the chance of them being caught and makes it easier to dispose the bodies. The lower court found them guilty, yet it also considered the provision stated in Section 106 of the Code of Mindanao and Sulu, which recommended life imprisonment instead of death penalty because of their illiteracy, ignorance, and extreme poverty.